Welcome to One Word a Day. I'm Sophia, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. Let's continue unpacking some Chinese expressions talking about womanly beauty, mostly womanly. The most beautiful objects, many of the most beautiful objects in the eyes of the language users, whoever are learning and using the language, mostly men, right? Their love interests are mostly women. So that's only reasonable that most of the expressions are attributed to women. Like you wouldn't use today's expression 天生丽质 if you use a man. That would be weird. Okay, so this is woman, womanly quality that talks about it's skyborn. Okay, so here 天生 in Chinese, it means you're born with this quality, but Chinese add a sky in there. That means you're down with you inherit this quality. I guess in ancient times, people probably don't understand the generic heritage and the cultural force to shape you. Probably ancient times didn't really study that hard, but everything was attributed to sky. Sky means the all wrapping, all surrounding environment you're in. And also there was this sense of this lineage, because sky, like we're all live under the sky, right? So somehow that's the source. We can view that as the source of nature, or the force way beyond our individual and a limited lifespan selves, right? So that sky gives you this, you can almost view it as God in the context of Christianity, and in other forms, it's simply representing the nature. So naturally, you are born. 励志 is, I translate as a fine qualities. So there was no specification, like what kind of qualities. So that's up to individual tastes to fill in, like to care more about looks, or the way that person communicates, or the physical strength or unstrength. So all that dimensions, it's up to the user to imagine what kind of 励志 you're expecting on somebody. But of course, in contemporary Chinese, it all comes in the context of today's modern living. And I will show you an example of that later. So now, 天生, this sky, have this person symbol, this bridge looking thing, it's person symbol. And I view this arch, this big arch thing, as the sense of space. So you have this big, almost perspective looking thing. That's a big arch behind you. That means a huge space behind you. And this person is on the foreground, and the space is in the background. And this one horizontal line is the sky line. So under the sky, all that space behind the human. That's my reading of this three-part component of the character. And just by one horizontal line, scholars would already assign that to the meaning of heaven or sky. Two lines is heaven and earth. And then the third line is the middle, adding to the middle part, which is the living things or biosphere, where existing between the heaven and earth. But here, Chinese have to differentiate just one line. That means number one is numerical sense, right? So to make it clear that we mean that's the sky is the limit. So we place the one horizontal line on the top of the frame, and then have a person, because a person, humans are the measure of all things. We think of things in terms of in comparison to us, right? So we put a human figure in there as kind of a baseline or standard that we are measuring the universe with. So then the skyline is on top of us, right? That gives you the sense of, okay, this is something forever above us. And then there's this huge space sense in the background. Okay, that sky. Born, we have the plant symbol, this trident looking thing, right? It's our plant, and it's a root. This is the ground. So the root both, this plant have both above and underground portion. That means it's alive, right? It's still rooted. And then the second horizontal line is probably a little bit more harder, a little bit harder to understand because Chinese use horizontal lines, mostly horizontal lines, I think, to intersect with the part that they want you to pay attention to. In this case, it's intersecting with the tip of the root. And and that gives us a sense of, okay, we're not really talking about the plant here. We're talking about the very tip of the edge of the plant, which is in the soil. So we're actually talking about the surrounding, because otherwise, how are you going to express the surrounding where the plant grow? It's difficult, right? So in Chinese, we have two horizontal lines. The second line is longer than the first line, and one vertical line look like that. That means soil. So that's the plant raising environment. And then we have the plant on top of it. So that means something is still growing on the soil. So plant is the gene holder, right? And then the plant is the environment to support that gene holder. And together they have both the genetic setting and also the environment setting to make it alive. So two conditions have to be met to make it alive. And this plant-based symbol eventually we extended to use on humans as well. So 天生, in this case, we're talking about humans, right? So this alive, or this action of making something alive is the born in English, right? And then that's together to mean natural, like born naturally this way. Born naturally this way. Okay, 励志. I want to point out, like, both of these characters have the upper, top and bottom construction. Sometimes it's left and right, but in this case, it's top and bottom. And both tops of these characters have a repetition of exactly the same thing. Put it twice. Chinese have that repetition quite often. It creates an aesthetically like reoccurring pattern. So you're not left with just one thing, but this doubling of things gives you richer sense of, it's not just a singular thing, but it's multitudes of them. And of course, it's not always two times. It means multitudes of things. Okay, 力, the bottom character, which looks pretty pretty complicated, even for a Chinese user. It took me some time to dissect what that is. So this is a deer icon altogether. So Chinese have some animal depicting icons. Sheep, cow, birds, those are easy to unpack. You can view it pretty accurately. I mean, not accurately, but you can relate different parts of the writing to different parts of the animal's body. Over here, more strokes, so it's a little bit more hard. So these are the antelopes, right? So what's decorated on the hat of the deer? And I would assume this is the head of the deer, right? With the space, I guess it has to create some spatial sense. So that's on the top of the animal. So that's the head of a deer. And then simply here are four legs of the deer, right? And then they are all connected to this body in this deer body shape with a tail. So that's Chinese deer. Deer paired with this, it almost like letter A, right? English letter A with horizontal line. And I don't see this icon exists on its own. When it comes, it always comes in pairs. That means it has double of this, two of these next to each other, just like here. And this doubling actually means, I guess, in the deer population or in the deer kingdom, they often came in groups, often came in pairs, I guess. I'm not sure if they are monogamy animal, but this pairing, this two of them together always give you the sense of this coupling. So actually this structure, the letter A with horizontal line on the top, gives you, and always comes in two, give you this coupling. So this two of them together, and paired with Lu. Okay, this deer symbol comes to the fine, and you can see contemporary Chinese get rid of the Lu because it's just too complicated. We just keep the remaining of this coupling concept, but originally it's a deers in couples. And that gives you the fine quality. So I guess there were some culturally embedded value attributed to this particular animal, because deers, they look pretty, they are elegant, they're well maintained, they don't stink, right? And they hardly approachable. You cannot capture a deer. They are free running animals that looks elegant. And you can view that as a Chinese attribute that animal to a good quality, of fine quality. It's shaped in nature. It's not domesticated animals. And it always came in two. So from that deer quality in couples, and I guess in couples also give you the sense of it's a network of this good qualities. It's not singular. It's not a lone wolf kind of animal. So that's probably more appealing to very social animal humans. So both of that gives you the sense of what's considered fine. That's the, I guess, projected ideal human qualities from this deer population in couples, right? Okay, so that's Li Zhi. Again, we have the exact same thing twice, and that shape symbol, this thing, pronounced as Jin, and in contemporary writing, it's written like this. And it means axing or cutting something off with axe. And here visually just express that. So this is the cut off part, and this is the original part. Two of them means we are comparing one to the other. Like we have two of them put together. And then at the bottom, this is our currency symbol. So in contemporary, this is American US dollars, right? We have this symbol. Similarly, Chinese use the seashells. This is a seashell, simplified, the two soft legs dangling up from the shell. So the shell itself is this with patterns look like this. So this is the seashell itself. This is the shell of the seashell, and plus this two dangling soft bodies of the soft body animal used to live in the seashell. And that complete the image, because otherwise we have eyeball symbol that looks just like that. That could cause confusion. So this too also serves as a differentiator of the seashell itself. Make sure it's not eyeball there, it's a seashell. So seashell means currency, means money, and money is used as transaction. And in transaction, you have to do this valuation, like how much you pay, right? So apparently in this frame, it looks like you're comparing either you're going out there to buy your tools to cut things, and this axe, almost like you go to a hardware store today, right? You're using your currency, your seashell currency, try to find the best axe available out there, and you have comparison, two of them, multitudes of them, and then you're going to seek out the best quality one, pay for that one. So that's transactionally based valuation of things, and that's the attribution of quality. It eventually extends to every other type of quality, transactional or value attached or not. But I mean, we constantly assign value to things, whether things are transactional or not. So in this case, 天生丽质 talking about human quality, and definitely it's not transactional, as if you can buy it off the shelf, right? It's not working like that. You can work it out through matchmaker in ancient times, kind of like transactional almost, right? You can afford to pay for so-and-so to be your wife, something like that. So this transactional valuation of things eventually becomes just our judgment of the value of things. Okay, then 天生丽质 simply means somebody who is born as a born beauty. it's almost like effortless beauty. But wait, no, it's a lie. Everybody have to put in sort of effort of something. But when I search for 天生丽质, Shu Qi, she is still actively being an actress from Hong Kong or Taiwan. And I'm pretty sure she is multilingual because Hong Kong speaks Cantonese and mainland China, the majority population of Chinese speakers are simplified Chinese, Mandarin speaking, and Taiwan is somewhere its own flavored, simplified, not simplified. They use traditional Chinese. Written form is different, but the accent holds the same as the mainland Chinese with their own flavor, kind of sweetened version of, of Chinese, Mandarin. And so she probably can appeal to all three different language regions. And Shu Qi was described, used by this expression 天生丽质, because in this context, the author was talking about she going through that age, like in her age group, probably she is probably close to 50 something, and she still have that leisurely beauty, like a effortlessly beauty, like simply seeping out of her. She don't need to have any cosmetic surgery, things like that. And probably she has her own lifestyle set up a certain way so she can maintain the look. There definitely work or thinking to go through getting through life gracefully and in both inside and outside like that. But people like to imagine, okay, she is naturally born this way. She had this fine quality that age well. She's I guess, in this context, representing the age well population of a small percentage of women going through life that age well, like regardless of what age, still fabulous. You just look at her like a goddess or things like that. Anyways, that's 天生丽质. Thank you for your time. See you another time.